Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my bowl of water off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So, channel members, you guys had a reading post yesterday, so definitely check that out. And if you're interested in channel memberships, that link is always in the description box below. I'm saying that, but I don't know that I'm actually going to, I don't know if I'm posting this one today. I think I'm going to post this one today. I did one before this that I planned on posting later this evening. And I almost feel like that one's supposed to come tomorrow. So I'll post that one tomorrow. This one I'll post tonight. I already posted today, but I just felt like I was supposed to do a second video. So I think it's supposed to be this one. I feel like this one feels right for this collective. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Okay, so right now there's this energy of a fault line that's appearing for somebody. And this is like an emotional fault line. I'm seeing this, you know, when we think about the Earth's crust, it's built up over layers and it's very strong, it's very solid. And when this cracks open, it's like it vents out gases and magma. And it feels a little bit like there's some very tumultuous energies that are starting to be processed through someone. We've had some readings lately about grief. So it could be that there's some grief. For some of you, it's going to be anger. Others of you, it's going to be just like really emotional and sad and not really knowing quite exactly what's going on. For others of you, it's not necessarily about the emotions so much as some sort of protective boundary or layer has been broken open within you. Okay, and all of this is really about this. There's a signal, there's information that's trying to come through, and in order for that information to be processed, this layer had to break open. I think that this is a long time coming because again, it's built up over a long time, right? There's layers, and these layers were there to protect a core of our energy, of our mind, of our emotional body from external effects. But now, and I feel that whoever this message is for, you've done a lot of healing in order for this reading to come out. Or for some of you, I will say there may have just been an event that happened that's kind of broken that space open. But now it's like we're ready for the information that we've had stored inside to come through. And this is interesting because I'm going to tell you right now that the person that this message is for, it's like there's definitely a channeling ability. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm seeing this internal box as us, our conscious mind, and this greater box is kind of like underneath the surface. It's what we don't necessarily have access to. And we think the information is coming from that part of ourself, when in reality it's coming from outside of the boxes that we occupy entirely. So channeled information is something that is very important for whoever this message is for. It's not just channeled information that we give and we receive. It's information, and like it's almost like energy frequencies that allow us to come into this reality as human beings and work our will or our purpose or our mission or whatever it is. So that's coming into this as well. There's a sense of danger or discomfort that is causing someone to want to close it up or compartmentalize, notice the compartments, or to kind of put a pin in it, because there's like pins right here. Put a pin in it and come back later. We may be distracting ourselves with busy work or with our kids. And, you know, obviously if you have kids, it's a great reason to kind of distract yourself so that they may not necessarily be worried or have the questions. But I think that whoever this message is for, it's important to find some time to kind of sit with the self and have an open line of communication with yourself. Sit in the spirit of play when you do that, rather than seriousness and worry about being wrong, and just ask yourself, what is this? What's going on? You know, what am I meant to feel? What's going on underneath the surface that maybe I didn't have access to? And remember, that's going to come through in your own feelings first, because it has to pass through your own feelings. So honor those feelings, honor that experience, and then see if it decides to take you to a deeper level. Okay. Also, I'm going to say we have this image showing up, and whenever that image shows up for me, it is about a resonance. Our resonance is changing. Someone has really changed the way that they think, the way that they believe, the way that they identify. Okay. And Yeah, so change, number 5 is change. And notice the cell phone. This is the communication. This is the actual information that's trying to come through. It's entangled here with this little vortex. So it's how it manifests in our reality, how it manifests before reaching you. And here, notice that little arrow is going over here, and it's reaching over to this little guy, and it's all scribbled. The lines are crossed. So there's some sort of communication that we're having mixed messages across lines in terms of information that's trying to reach us from some cosmic, consciousness. And it's online. You can see that this phone is turned on, but it almost looks broken, right? There's a connection here that's broken. And this is directly related to one of the cards from this deck that came out in the reading that I am going to post tomorrow. So if this part resonates with you, definitely check that reading out, because I go into that a little bit more than I'm being told to go into it here. Notice this little mushroom guy, my little plant medicine guy. He's not sure who he is. He's just like fading in and out. He's not solidly formed just yet, so he has these questions. Maybe there's parts of himself that he hasn't seen. Maybe he doesn't know what direction he's going in. Maybe it's that he hasn't decided. Okay. And because of that, he's just like this little blob of potentiality. That's not a bad place to be. We're always a blob of potentiality. It's just that when we make our decisions, it's when we're fully formed. And right now, there's just all these questions and these entanglements. Do I get to decide who I am? How do I know if my choice is right? What's my value? There's like some question mark here in terms of our identity. And because of this, it's throwing a wobble onto this little stylus, and it's making scribbles. When we decide, that's when we get to start to take part in the dance and the interplay of our reality by the way that we believe, the way that we think, the way that we feel, the actions that we take, therefore, that cause us to create solid shapes in our reality, beautiful pictures, right? So this could be, the life that you want, the experiences that you want to have, the friend groups that you want to have. There's still something deeper down. We can think of it this way, right? Deep inside the unconscious here, that is sending these mixed signals still. And so this fault line is opening to reveal that space so that we can get in there and we can kind of clear it out. Okay. Ooh, deep in the reptilian mind. There's some confirmation biases. There's some core concepts. There's a predator in the unconscious that's at the top of the food chain. When we think about this is that reaction, right? That's instinct. It's the instinct to fight, flight, freeze, placate. It's the instinct to bind up and cover up and protect, the instinct to point the finger so that we don't have to go through the pain of the emotion of pointing the finger itself. Someone here, so I'm going to say this, number 4 is my personal number of conflict. And people always ask me why. It's because conflict is required to cause the change. There's got to be some friction to cause a change. If you're happy with something, you're probably not going to change it. So in the process of the numbers, I always read 4 as the conflict before the change, before the number 5. And here, what I'm seeing is it's like a footprint, right? It's been stamped on us. And it's like, it's something here that we're being asked to kind of pluck out. And right here, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing mind mapping. So mind mapping is basically where you're on a piece of paper, you're like, I feel this way, and you put a little circle around it, and it can be for anything, but for this one, since it's about feelings, and then we draw a little line and we say, why do I feel this way? Well, because of this and this, and maybe subconsciously because of this, and we draw little lines, and then we say, oh, well, what do I do about that? And I can't do anything about this one, so how do I reframe it? How do I view it differently? How do I approach it from a different heart space and a different aspect of my wisdom? And this one, how do I change this? What are the steps to go about to changing it? Yes, it's going to be difficult and it makes me feel like I can't change it, but I actually can if I'm really honest with myself. So what are the steps to get there? And how do I start chiseling away at this so that I can, in 5 years, 10 years, be happier if it's something that big, right? This is what mind mapping is. Someone, you might want to get into that for yourself so that you can clearly lay out and take those abstract feelings and amorphous clouds that we never actually get to grapple and confront, and actually start to confront things to tame this beast, because it is a beast. That's a beastie. There is a beastie, and that beastie wants to eat you. So how do we allow this to kind of subside so that it's not the one taking the steps, our human identity, our person who we choose to be, that's what's taking the steps. Because right now this is running the show for somebody a little bit, and it can manifest as sabotage mechanisms. It can manifest as keeping us in places that like we're really, really unhappy. I don't know why I'm hearing turn it upside down. Okay, I'm turning it upside down. Ooh, as I did that, I'm seeing this almost like the temperature keeps rising, right? It's almost like we're encountering an energy. We have something within us that keeps trying to rise our temperature. It keeps trying to get us in a space of extreme anger or extreme fear. This is how I have a hold on you. That's the feeling that it's giving me. So this is one of the reasons why it's important to maybe understand what's in this fault line, because we have to come back to center. We have to be a little bit more centered, not going through the extremes of our emotions and feeding this with our anger, feeding it with our fear. Okay. So sit in the energy, right? You feel those things, sit in the energy, fully embrace it, allow it to be something that you accept about yourself rather than pushing it away. It's not about pushing things away. It's about understanding that it's there. It's about loving yourself through it and understanding that that anger is probably connected to a root of sadness, and allowing ourselves to slowly experience the sadness instead of the anger. That's part of the fault line. The anger is the defense. Remember, I was reading that as like uncomfortable energy that we might be trying to defend ourselves against. Okay. Yeah, it's about the inner child coming back to the perfect sun, the internal sun, not S-U, no, not S-O-N, S-U-N. Yeah, maybe you were the perfect sun, I don't know. But, you know, throwing that light and that brightness and that beautiful sense of self with bliss and joy and, you know, who we were before we were bogged down with all of the crud layers, not the earth is crud, but, you know, for the purposes of this reading, the mineral layers, the mineral deposits. And because, you know, when we think about this energy, it's like, even if it rains, it's this refreshing thing. It all gets soaked up on those layers and it never really reaches center. There's some sort of nourishment we're not receiving because something has been preventing us from that. It's changing the path that we're walking, and it's time to pick a new path. In order to pick a new path, we have to let ourselves break open into this energy, feel the feelings, the uncomfortable feelings, and get into that inner child space to understand that the core of who you actually are is love. Ooh, we have a pop in from this morning's reading. We have the mentor, someone you have some spirits, particular natural spirits, naturally. Why was I saying naturally? Interesting. Okay. So notice how this is, it looks like it's holding on to something, like it's covering something. Notice that that's kind of reminding me of like the lava that would be underneath this, the magma. And it's an owl instead of the earth. And the owl is knowledge, wisdom. Someone here, there is such a thing as learning so much book knowledge that you lose touch of the truth that you have within you. Okay, and I feel that right now for some of you, you are working with natural spirits of some kind, as mentioned in today's reading, and that these are actually trying to get you to dive deep inside to kind of heal this internal sun, taking your personal power back from situations by removing your energy from situations, also taking your personal power back from yourself by removing from yourself your insecurities that you're projecting onto others, taking your responsibility to yourself so that you can be a complete and whole individual rather than seeing everything as everyone else's fault and everyone's out to get you, understanding the part that we play in our own dynamics, understanding when we choose to be in those dynamics, and that that isn't a choice anybody's making for us in many of the situations in our life, not all of them. Understanding how powerful you actually are, understanding that you are a healing being, understanding that you have this joy and bliss within you, and if you've ever felt it in your life at any given moment, that's because that feeling originates inside of you, and it can be created by you. This is an energy where it's like there's a lot locked away in terms of honest, true truth and wisdom, but we may be too caught up in the knowledge layer, right? The teachings, mine or other people's. You know, it's about going within and finding your own answers, finding your truth. Okay. And then we have the river. By doing this, this is where we come into flow and communion with ourself. When we have the horse energy, the horse is a very powerful animal, right? So we have this juxtaposition between this brilliant, bright, jovial sun, and then this very shadowy, powerful energy. And both of those are equally important. To hold space for both the sun, the light within us, and the shadow within us, and to understand the properties of both and how they're manifesting in our life. And when we merge them, this, right? Oh, it still freaks me out when it happens. The bridge, right? That they're actually two sides of the same coin. They're two sides of the same coin. And between them, there's all the nourishment and all the beautiful, like, water and energy that you require. That these spectrums of energy that maybe we're looking for outside of ourselves, they're inside of us. They're inside of us. And that doesn't mean you don't need others. It doesn't mean that you don't need this thing or that thing. As a human being, you have things that you need. But it means that we can go about our life in a little bit more ease, with a little bit more grace, with a little bit more happiness, and a little bit more compassion when we're able to generate these feelings for ourselves rather than placing that burden on other situations and other people. This is also when we get in touch with these deep spaces here and we attune ourselves to the frequency. This is where we become a conduit. Again, going back to this energy of channeling, this is where we become a conduit for the divine. Yes. Okay, one card, last card here. Oh, I'm hearing not this one. Okay, not this one. We're moving over here. And I'm hearing 3. Okay, not 1, 3. Okay, so here, we'll start here. Survival mode, right? That's kind of what I'm feeling here with this protective mechanism. And notice it's kind of opening up and we have this magma coming through. Survival mode. How can you dream when your nervous system is scanning for threats? Okay, until you feel safe, your spirit will ration its power. Okay, and I feel that this is what's trying to break apart here. Soft strength. It takes great strength to remain soft in a world that tries to harden you. Only the brave dare to feel, to love, to face their own vulnerability. And I feel like this is what we're trying to bring in here. Okay, and then feel to heal. The wound you refuse to feel is the wound that refuses to... Oh, the wound you refuse to feel is the wound that refuses to heal. But pain buried alive never dies. Okay. So definitely some energies that are a little uncomfortable trying to come up to the surface, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's ready to go. It's ready to be processed. It's ready to move on. So I'm gonna leave this here. And whoever's message this is, I wish you the best of luck with this. You're on the verge of some sort of very important stuff here. And feel free to leave me a comment. Feel free to like this video, and until next time.